We are ready. My prediction, I bet against the Wizards once and I paid for it, so I think the Wizards will take it in a close game 5, but the sub is going to define it. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen, game 1 of the best of 5 series between the Indy Division, Yellow Jackets versus Wizards. Let's get into it, QDC.
Yes, thank you very much as we start off with Vulcan getting shut down point blank by Chuck right at the start. And like a boss will get it to flying high as he's going to get neutralized there by Neutrino. Vulcan pops it up. Neutrino gets bumped. That's a beautiful bump by the F1 car of flying high. You don't see that one very, very often, especially a bump towards the ball. It really got thrown off, and that was such a good play all around. Tristan, he's going to wait back, flying high, pops it up. Tristan won't be able to get there in time, but Vulcan will, and put it into the corner. 4:18 left on this clock. We are starting off with some high-octane action right off the bat, Mr. Medic.
Yeah, and I love that pressure that you're noticing from this Yellow Jackets team, and almost, though, an opportunity there for the Wizards. They know that the Wizards are coming out with the sub. They know they can take advantage of that early, and they can maybe boom them mentally. So they threw a ton of offensive pressure. But the response here from the Wizards is looking great. Coming downfield, trying to shoot it. Back and forth we go. Honestly, feels like one of those games. First goal is going to define a lot of the momentum going forward.
I mean, not just in this game either, but the rest of the series. That's off the post, and that's a free goal. How does that nearly not go in? It does. I was going to absolutely yell obscenities if Chuck managed to miss this. I was going to go old QDC on that one.
He hit it straight at Neutrino, who unfortunately just couldn't quite get enough on it. You know, the miss coming out from Tristan is unfortunate, but that is a great goal to start off this offense and this series for this Yellow Jackets team.
I do like how we're starting off, and I hope everyone else does too, because this is a strong start, and this is what the Yellow Jackets definitely want. It's going to go off the back wall, no one there, but there's no one in the net either. Can Neutrino get there in time? No, he can't. He can't even clear out the ball like a boss. Puts it in, and we're tied, and we're not tied. We are in a 2-goal lead for the Yellow Jackets.
We are, and I mean, they're just pouring so much offense on that the Wizards' defense is looking really shaky. I was mistaken. Vulcan is off the Admirals, apparently, which is a much better team, obviously. But, you know, you're looking really shaky on the defense for the Wizards. It's something you have to clean up going forward, and part of that is just their transitional play. They on transition get beat over and over and over again, but that's a good start to get back into it. Vulcan with the double will pull them within one.
Nearly choked on my food, I'm not gonna lie. Vulcan here. Oh my goodness. He nearly shot it top corner right off the bat. And then, with the miss of like a boss, Vulcan just flies down there and puts it in. What a beautiful goal.
It was. And now, you know, you're trying to get back into it. It's a great mental reset. But you can't, if you're the Yellow Jackets, you cannot let the Wizards score again. Because if they do, I think all the momentum shifts in their favor.
Definitely does, especially when you score 2 goals in a row. You do have the momentum shift onto your side. So you just scored 2 goals. If you let 2 in before even halftime goes down, then it's a little bit like, well, what did we do this first half? We did it all for nothing, but this is not all for nothing. They've restored the 2-goal lead. So much offense coming in. Tristan barely missing it. There's a lot of misses here, but so much offense coming in despite of it. And I think it's the inconsistencies of both teams here coming in and showing that it's so dangerous to not hit the ball every single time.
It is, and Tristan is 2 for 2 right now on goals that he's missed that they score, right? He's got to clean that up, and part of that is because it feels like maybe they're rushing a little on defense. They feel uncomfortable. You have to connect with the ball first. I was coaching a single A team the other day, and I'm like, look, like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how fast you are, it doesn't matter how great mechanically you are, if you can't hit the balls. Another whiff comes through and almost dangerous, but a good save from Chuck. So if I'm the Wizards defense, I gotta calm down. I just gotta focus on hitting the ball first and worrying about the rest of the game later.
I completely agree, and with 2 minutes left, there's plenty of time to regroup, and with that ball being in the offensive zone, only one defender, and Vulcan, who's flying high, he's able to get that goal in with 2 minutes on the dot left, and flying high, unable to make the save.
Vulcan, the super sub, coming through clutch so far, the only goal scorer for this Wizards team here in game 1. Maybe they can start to rely on him a little more. Of course, you have to figure out how does he fit into your rotation, as he is a sub for this team, but clearly coming through for them tonight, and something they can try to take advantage of against this Yellow Jackets team.
He might be a sub, but if he's their main attraction, he could absolutely just carry this team. And maybe if the Yellow Jackets aren't taking him seriously, they better do so quickly because he's absolutely lighting it up. Ball's in the offensive zone, like a boss, puts it down. Vulcan gets the ball cleared out, flying high towards the front of the net. Tristan will make the save and put it in the opposite corner. Like a boss is going to be there first. He's going to put it towards the front of the net. Vulcan cleared it out with a nice hit off the back wall. But Tristan, he's got the ball. He's going to slowly give it back to Vulcan off the back wall. Back to Vulcan. The shot. It's off wide. And the shot from Neutrino that goes off the post and in. We're tied at 3 with 70 seconds left.
Both teams loving that left-hand post. Neutrino hitting, and of course the Yellow Jackets earlier done the same thing off the shot from, I think it was Chuck, I believe. But, you know, Vulcan again, opening the team up, getting that double touch pass on. Neutrino there to clean it up. They look more comfortable as a team to these Wizards as this game goes on. That is scary and dangerous for the Yellow Jackets, who you would really assume need to win game 1. This should be their easiest game of the series, because they're still trying to figure out how to work Vulcan into this team. You know, that's with any sub. So,
right.
You know, if they lose this one, it's going to look rough going forward for the Yellow Jackets.
It definitely is, but they've shown that they are absolutely playing with a chip on their shoulder, right? And it's absolutely been showing. But when they've been playing too aggressively, they've been leaving holes open, and that's how Vulcan has been able to get these 2 goals and assist as Tristan gets himself his first goal. Vulcan gets himself another assist. And a first lead coming up for the Wizards. And like a boss going way too early. He anticipated the shot, but he just absolutely whiffed.
Yeah, and again, Wizards on the back of Vulcan, able to score. Vulcan coming out strong for these guys. I mean, 2 goals, 2 assists, 1 save, and 7 shots here in game 1. I mean, he has been doing it all for them. It brings an interesting point up, too, of now you're not only playing what you would argue is some of the best of the Wizards if you're the Yellow Jackets. Now you have to play some of the best of the Admirals, and it is not going well as another goal scored here by Tristan off the pass from Vulcan downfield. You're going to have to find a way if you're the Yellow Jackets to shut down Vulcan in the remainder of this series.
I agree. If you can't get them shut down, you might be in big, big trouble. Well, I think that's a nice little dagger put in by Tristan, though, with 10 seconds left. I don't see how they come back in here, but us flying high over to Like a Boss goes in, but it doesn't. And so that'll be it for game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. 6-3 will be the final score here as Tristan gets himself a hat trick. And I think that's the first goal in which Vulcan does not take a part of.
Yeah, you know, just padding the stats, trying to make up for those whiffs earlier. You know, it brings up a very interesting question, and I think honestly a debate that these guys are going to have in their indie chat is, you pulled a sub from an 11-1 top tier #1 team in indie.
Right.
If it were the full roster of the Wizards, QDC, and I want your take on this, if they had their players tonight, is it this much of a blowout game 1? Or would it be closer? Do you think the Yellow Jackets would have the edge?
Now, it seems as if their offense, right, they're playing around Vulcan. They're not exactly playing like they normally would if you played with your team and had chemistry with them. It feels more like they're playing as if they were playing in solo queue, not but like with a 2-man team going into 3s, right? So they're playing around their third because they don't exactly know how he's going to play, right? When you play in ranked and you're only 2 and going into a 3s match, you don't know how your third is going to play. So you're going to play around him, right? You want him to really take the lead. And Vulcan's done exactly that. He's taken the initiative and he's been very, how can I say this, assertive in the way that he's been playing, and that's really helped out the Wizards so far. And I think as far as subs go, they're very happy with their choice of sub going into this game and this series. The only thing that I noticed otherwise that I wanted to point out is how many times are wide open nets going to be shot directly at the defender. You have a massive net, and
it's sometimes tougher than it might appear, but you're right. And also, Vulcan has a huge sort of incentive to try this match because the Wizards win, you don't care. They're other conference. The only time you'll ever play them for playoffs, you know, or anything like that is going to be in the finals. And if you can boost this team to that point, it looks a lot better, particularly because I think Vulcan right now would feel comfortable saying that his team alone can beat the Wizards. But the Yellow Jackets are a team that you can knock out of conference play right now. You can keep them out of your conference playoffs. So there's a lot for him to play for. I do think that brings into question some of the morality of these kind of subs. But either way, it doesn't matter. The sub's working for now. And the Yellow Jackets, they're going to need to find a way to get back in the series here. But that's not going to do it, as the defender couldn't quite get back for the Yellow Jackets here. And first goal of this game goes to the Wizards, continuing that momentum from last series.
First half of game one, it looked shaky for Tristan, right? He missed two balls that you'd expect him to hit. And heading into that second half, he scored his hat trick. And now, heading into this game, he scores the first goal as well. So he scored 4 goals in a row. And he's doing super, super good for himself. And if you look at Vulcan, he's got himself 6 points out of 7 goals for the team. That is absolutely nuts. 2 goals, 4 assists for this man alone. And you got to be very pleased if you are this Wizards team, pulling wizardry out of your buttocks at the current moment. Flying high though, he'll try to keep that in. Neutrino, you'll grab that ball. He's the only one who's really just been a background player so far because of the Vulcan and Tristan combination that's been happening. All he's had to do is lay back and just wait for the ball to come back, but it never does because it ends up in the back of the net, as it almost does there. Tristan goes up in the air, gets a little hit on it so that Vulcan can get it before Chuck can. It goes into the corner for Neutrino. Like a boss, will get it cleared out though, and Tristan won't be able to get it, so Vulcan's the last one back. He'll be able to get the ball cleared out, but Chuck gets it, and Vulcan's gonna miss that. Tristan needs to. No, Neutrino is gonna get it, so third man's the charm. And everyone's out of position now. They don't know how to place themselves. No one's in position. Like a boss is stopped by Vulcan. And flying high now. He's got a wide open net. He's going to completely miss it. And Vulcan gets that ball cleared out. 1v1 between him and Chuck. Chuck gets it cleared. And Tristan puts it back in. 2:53 left on the clock.
Yeah, you know, Neutrino's always fulfilled that third man role. I was going to say, like, even when we saw this full Wizards team on stream, he does that. It's just how he plays. It works for the team. It's nothing new to him. The problem is, as Vulcan with a whiff here, this is a good opportunity for the Yellow Jackets. Just free and flying high will score to tie us up here and even the score out. But this is, to me, the problem for the Yellow Jackets. The only time they score is off a mistake from the Wizards. They have not forced a single goal against this Wizards team based on their own team play alone.
Right, their aggressiveness caused a lot of mistakes at the start of game one, which calmed down on the side of the Wizards here. And there weren't that many mistakes, and they haven't created their own.
Tristan with another whiff, and they will pay for it off this kickoff as the Yellow Jackets go up 1, and in less than 10 seconds, they score 2 goals and go up in the lead by 1 here. Still a ton of game to play, though, here, QDC. I mean, you're not out of this, obviously. We saw that from this Wizards team last time. But again, we're looking at a Tristan whiff. You have to clean those up because you might not play immaculate, but those are killing them, as we said. The Yellow Jackets, their only, so far, pathway to scoring has been those mistakes.
Right, but you don't exactly. We are in India after all, right? You don't expect them to play perfectly, right? That's the last thing you need to expect. Of course, you want to hit every ball, right? But even at this level, you're not going to hit every ball, right? You're going to hit maybe 90 or 95% of your balls at this point, especially up in the air. It's a lot harder. You need a little bit more time, in my opinion, as Chuck. He'll beat Vulcan off of the wall there. That is a beautiful read by Chuck. Vulcan just hesitates a little bit too much. He waits, and he waited a little too long.
Yeah, I mean, finally the Yellow Jackets are starting to generate some offense, right? Popping that downfield, getting shook there, able to beat the defender, looking better, because the Wizards look a little shaky after they got scored on there twice off the kickoff and everything. And I agree with you that there is a difference between, you know, just the occasional whiff and things like that, as Tristan will set this up beautifully on the double, getting it down to Vulcan for the easy open net. The problem is, when you whiff as many times uncontested as the Wizards have done, that becomes an issue, though. Now pulling within 1, can they tie us up? Tons of time remaining, and this has been a high-octane, high-offense series so far, QDC.
It gets in your mind, right? It messes up your mental, right? And when you whip that often, right? You don't want to go up in the air anymore, right? You're saying, okay, I don't want to whip it, so I'm just gonna wait for it. I'm gonna not push. I'm not gonna be aggressive with this ball. I'm gonna make sure that I have full control of it, right? And if it's going in, then he's gonna Hail Mary it, but it's gonna be tough. As Vulcan, no, flying high. That was not a time to push.
It was, but Flying High beat himself here, right? Vulcan sees him coming in and actually was too slow to that ball. If Flying High had made contact early, he scores that off Vulcan's hood. But he faked himself out, didn't make any contact, whiffed, and because Vulcan didn't go early enough, he's just like, okay, hits it forward, and the net is completely open. It's another mistake leading to a goal, and we are tied up here with about a minute left.
Even had that been a 50-50, right? Even if, let's say, Flying High touches that ball at the same time as Vulcan does, both of his teammates, Flying Highs, are in the other direction.
Yet another mistake does come out from the Wizards here, putting the Yellow Jackets back on top, and they would love to take this game to even the series out.
Oh, Neutrino neutralizes himself out of the equation. He neutralizes the threat of himself out of the play, and it's a 4-3 lead. So last game was a 4-3 game, and it was for the Wizards. Now it's for the Yellow Jackets, and it's another come from behind lead now for this team. So the team that's won the game came back from behind. Will that happen again? We shall see. Maybe this series will be all about who doesn't score the first goal, right? Whoever scores the first goal will lose the game, right? Maybe that's going to be our story of the series. But so far, looking good for these Yellow Jackets. The Wizards almost making a comeback here. But with 30 seconds left, they're in their own zone. And Vulcan, he's going to need to pull a little bit more magicry here. He's going to need to pull a little bit more, how can I say it, wizardry, right? He needs to stop being an admiral and more start being a wizard here. Tristan pops it up in the air for Neutrino. Neutrino stays back, Flying High. Tries to get it out of the zone, but that's on the floor. And Yellow Jackets will take game number 2. We're tied at 1 the series. And Mr. Dead Medic, you're very much so alive. You're very much so on the edge of your seat. This game has been very lively, back and forth. What's your thoughts on it so far?
It has. So first of all, I love the way the Yellow Jackets played that last minute of this game, right? They played aggressive, but they controlled the midfield for the very first time in the series. So they just kept burning the clock out. They just kept hitting the ball up, taking time away. They knew time was on their side, and they outlasted the Wizards there in the end. It was beautiful. It was a great transition. But neither team so far has come out and just said, this is our play style. Figure us out. They have not settled down. It has been back and forth. So much offense, very little defense. Neither team really coalescing into just, we own the midfield, we own the game. We saw some of that in the back end of game 1, but it felt like maybe the Yellow Jackets had sort of given up after they had gone down by about 2. So both of these teams need to figure out, how do we want to play and how can we control the field? Nobody has controlled the midfield. It's just been back and forth, ping-pongy play. Who can shoot first and who can shoot better? So I like that offensive aggression, but I do think that the team that will win this series is the one that will figure out their defense first, especially with their midfield possession.
I think you're forgetting that we're not playing in P4 at the moment, right? Like, yes, of course, these players will have some experience with each other, right? But it also comes down to at this level, right? At C3, C2, right? You're not getting yourself really with teammates every single day, practicing down like the GCs and the SSLs are doing, right? So you've got yourself quite a little bit of setback in that sense, where the players are a little bit too inconsistent to really have the same strategy going ahead. And I mean, look at this. Like, you could rotate all you like. If one cog falls off, you've got yourself a complete failure of the mission, no matter what happens.
Well, it was a double whiff here, right? Vulcan obviously losing possession of it. Then Neutrino tries to come through and can't hit it either. So Tristan is left in the back and he gets posterized. It's not that I am thinking these guys is major, but I give every player the credit that is due, and I think even players here in Indy know how to play solid Rocket League, and I don't think you can disparage them for that. So I think that what I mean by coalescing their gameplay is not simply playing immaculate midfield presence. It is playing the best that both teams know how to play, and these are both top tier teams in Indy right now. So I expect, and from what I have seen of these guys, what I see right now looks still uncomfortable. Both teams feeling each other out. One team is just going to need to say, look, we are good at passing, or we are good at shooting, or whatever we are good at. And we're going to continue to do so all game long. Though the Yellow Jackets have really surprised me. They're looking good. They came out this game, and they're playing faster. They're playing more aggressive. And it looks like they want to be the ones to take initiative, though a good save has to come out there from Flying High. But they look more put together, particularly on their rotations here in Game 3.
It feels like a little bit of game one, right? It feels like most teams' game ones at this point in the game. And in fact, we're seeing a little bit more mistakes coming out of both teams so far than we did in game one. Though game one was a little bit more nail-biting. Like a boss, we'll put it in. It's 2-0. And again, like game one, we see a 2-0 lead. We see a very strong offensive start and actually pretty strong defensive start as well for this Yellow Jackets team. So how do you reform on the other side if you're the Wizards, right? Have they figured you out? Of course not, right? So maybe change up something that you've been doing, maybe figure out how they've been beating you and get back onto your axles. But at this point, the only thing I can really figure is that it's just the mistakes, and they're actually calibrating themselves to beat them on the mistakes. Vulcan will give that away back to Flying High, but that ball comes back in. The patience actually from Vulcan almost allowed that ball to go in, but with 3 minutes left, they're still down 2-0.
They are, and Yellow Jackets have come together as a more solid team. They're looking great. What a demo, too. Leaves this open. Maybe Chuck has an opportunity, but Neutrino will save it. The difference to me right now is there's always a two-sided coin when you pull a sub in, and it's a side most people don't talk about is, you know, obviously your team has to play around the sub because you don't know how he's going to play and he doesn't know how you're going to play. But that's the part nobody talks about is how does the sub incorporate himself into the team? And that is the problem right now for the Wizards that's keeping them from looking strong. Vulcan looks like he's playing for the Admirals team. And what do I mean by that? These doubles that he gets are really good passing plays, but nobody on the Wizards has read one yet. He gets these double passes. They look like they're going to maybe be a shot. Nobody shows up for the Wizards, and they don't score it. They did some in game one, but they're not playing to his tempo, and he is not slowing it down enough for them. So they look disjointed, and that is something they're going to have to figure out going forward. They got to find that match one mojo that they had of, well, we know Vulcan's good enough that we are just going to commit to his play and score it off the back of his touch.
So what you're saying is that while your team, right, when you're a team, you're only as good as your weakest link, right, your weakest player. And right now, Vulcan is definitely not their weakest player. In fact, he's probably their strongest player. As I said, you normally want to play around the third guy if you haven't played around him that much. And that is completely understandable. But at the same time, when he is your best player, is that... How do you have to play then, right? Do you have to play defensively around him? Do you not want to mess up? Because at the same time, if you keep making mistakes like whiffs, then you don't want him to get mad either, right? Because he is your sub after all, and if he gets out of a good mindset, then your whole team could be absolutely screwed out. And no one's going for this ball. It just stood there for quite a long time before getting cleared out. And speaking of Vulcan, he's going to be the one to clear it. And like a boss will meet him. Neutrino puts it down. And, oh, Tristan can't get the ball cleared out. Neutrino on the back wall, Flying High. We'll put it wide. 51 seconds left. And I just see back and forth hot potato here so far.
Yeah, and this is what we saw, you know, game one, we saw flashes of game two in particular. You know, to answer your question, it's sort of a double-edged sword, right? It depends on the sub. Though I don't think typically the sub's mental is what you're worried about unless you're like yelling at him because he doesn't care. I mean, at the end of the day, it's harsh to say, but this is not his team. Whether they win or lose, he doesn't really care. His team's 11-1, it's whatever. And but his problem for me is he has not done as good of a job as that is a beautiful shot from Flying High. Tristan doesn't commit, and he finds the angle to get a 3-0 score so far for the Yellow Jackets. But Vulcan is not the best on the Admirals team. He plays with the likes of Replays, who is widely considered to be one of the best players in Indy. Unfortunately, you don't have a player like that so far on the field for the Wizards, and he has not adapted himself well after game one for his teammates' abilities, in my opinion. And that has been their struggle, something they got to find out now. We'll be down 2 in the series, have to win the following 2 games to come back.
Exactly, and I mean, when you look at it from that perspective, right? You said that that Vulcan's teammate Replays is considered one of the best, right? And you could think, oh well, he's getting carried, right, by Replays. This game just shows you that he's not, right, getting carried. That this team is for real. That they are a very strong team, and overall need to be silenced, right? The Admirals. But when it comes to plug and play, Vulcan can just play at any level at this point, right? And especially at this level, he can play, and he's showing that he can play. So when the Wizards are trying to plug themselves around him, he's taking assertion, as I said earlier, right? He's assertive. He's taking that ball. He wants to get those goals, those assists, those points, right? Which is why he has all those goals and assists. And I think it's ruining the way that they would normally play, yes, but at the same time, it's up to the Wizards players to really keep up with him. It's not up to Vulcan to slow down for them.
Well, it's a mix of both, and I think that the thing is, Vulcan doesn't look like he would get carried by replays, but the problem is replays is the kind of player that on these double touches that Vulcan gets for the passes, you would expect to be able to be there. You have to meet your expectations to the team you're playing at. Yes, they need to try to play up to your level, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter, right? Like this Wizards team is going to figure out how to play together as a team like they did game one here. Now, again, as we said, Yellow Jackets up 2-1 in the series. They only need to win this next one and they're good to go. But beyond that, too, if you're this Wizards team, right, playing against this Yellow Jackets team, the Yellow Jackets have come together, coalesced as a team. So the Wizards, you got to figure out how to do that moving forward into this game. And to me, the level of an MVP style player is not a player that gets 17 goals a game and he's like number one in Indy, whatever. An MVP to me is always the guy that brings the team together. So I want to see who can become the MVP for this Wizards team tonight, or have the Yellow Jackets figured them out? And I would argue there is almost no MVP from them because they all look so good working together.
That's very true. The Yellow Jackets are working as one big unit as Neutrino. No! He almost gets that one in just a little bit too high. And Tristan now is the last one back. And he'll get a very good clear, actually. Chuck can't even get it. And Neutrino gets a really good hit. Flying high, he'll have to use his very long F1 car to make that save. Vulcan up against like a boss. And Vulcan will win that one out. Chuck will keep it in, but for how long is the question, because Tristan is there to pick it up, and he didn't go up in the air. I was saying this earlier, right? When you've whiffed enough balls, you're not going to go aggressive on it, and that's exactly what just happened there. He waited for that ball, as Vulcan, no, he makes that one mistake. And Vulcan, I'm not saying that Vulcan is impervious to making mistakes, because we just saw one there, but we can also see that he's been the one who made the least amount of mistakes so far, and it's really coming down to how the players play around him, right? How his teammates at the current moment are able to rotate.
Yeah, there was a mistouch, yes, but it was enough of a final, okay mistouch that if he had a teammate on the third man rotation, he would have been fine, but he didn't. It was just him. Neutrino got there too late. A demo does come out. Double demo, actually, from like a boss, even though nobody was going to get there because they were going for the back corner boost. What we like to call the bronze mental right here. Still fantastic, and just like that, flying high will take us to 2-0. And if the Wizards keep playing like this, Yellow Jackets take it here in 4.
Yeah, the Yellow Jackets really stinging back there, and the Wizards doing a good job so far of trying to keep up, but the Yellow Jackets have figured it out, right? You said one team needs to find a certain play style, and I don't think that the Yellow Jackets have found a play style. I just think that how they're playing right now is better than the Wizards. What they're doing is playing consistently. They're not missing. They're not whiffing the ball. And they're making smart plays and unorthodox plays that are really going to throw off, like that double demo play. That absolutely... Wait, they're going to do demos now? Really? Like, that absolutely threw them off. And it's smart. You're switching it up. You're not keeping yourself... how can you say, you're not keeping yourself obvious, right?
Yeah, and you're frustrating the Wizards. They feel frustrated right now, playing slower. Now they got to deal with the demos from like a boss who just apes at people once he hits the ball. It's a great strategy. It's working well for him. I'm just saying, like, that's what it looks like, right? He just goes straight like a bullet. And another one does come through with a miss here. 3-0 now for the Yellow Jackets. Chuck sinking this one off a touch from Tristan and nobody getting through. And I mean, the Wizards, they just sort of feel beaten here in Game 4.
Oh, man. The Wizards, they have half a game to come back, right? 3 minutes to come back down 3-0. It's possible. We've seen it before, right? And if it's going to start somewhere, it's going to start right here. But Vulcan, he's going to put it wide instead towards the front of the net. Neutrino gets a bad 50 there, so Tristan's going to get a weak touch. Neutrino with no boost is the last man back. And flying high, he'll get a shot off. Tristan able to put it into the corner, and that's going to be it for that advance. Trino has it in the corner, trying to get it out of his own zone. Not going to work. Vulcan now, and Tristan, they double commit on that ball. We talked about double commits. Here's Like a Boss trying to capitalize on that. He will. That ball is now deep in the territory of these Wizards. Neutrino tries to get it out, can't do so. Chuck, he's looking around, seemingly dangerous. And where's Tristan and Neutrino going? There's no one in the net. There's no one protecting. How can they get this ball cleared out if no one's behind the ball getting the ball cleared out? And there's a good bump. What a save by Neutrino. But can they keep it out of the net for as long as the offense is on here? A minute 40 on the clock. Tristan finally gets it out with a good clear pinch with Chuck.
Yeah, finally opportunity too here for the Wizards, but they can't quite sink it. Finally, Vulcan will come through and sink this. So not fully out of it yet, are you, if you're the Wizards, right? But you're going to have to dig deep and find 2 goals in a minute 30. Certainly possible, but, you know, in this case, you just saw you were relying on a miss from the Yellow Jackets there, a mistake. You know, a forced one, obviously, not just a whiff or anything like that, but do you think they've got what it takes?
Oh, man. If it came down to Neutrino and Tristan, I would not say so. But Vulcan has really been pulling these guys together here. And if they can do something where just Tristan getting in front of the net, right? Getting into dirty areas. Because with 1 minute left, right? You got 63 seconds left. There is no more time to play defense at this point, right? You need to score goals, right? And so now at this point, it's about playing risky. Because you're down to your last game, right? You're down to your last life. You need to start playing like it matters. And you need to start playing with a lot of risk. Tristan is staying back, so a goal doesn't go in. And he's going to be in all alone up against Like a Boss, and the ball is going to be cleared out. There's going to be a need for a second offensive player, and if not a third even, with 30 seconds left. You need to score 2 goals here. You need to do it now. There's no more waiting. There's no more going in the net to try and protect a ball from going into the back of the net, because it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter at this point, because what matters is scoring a goal in the opposite net. And they need to do that with 12 seconds on the clock. Chuck gets it, ball cleared out. Can he beat Tristan? No, he can't. And so the ball is still alive. There's still a chance. Vulcan, can he beat him? No, he can't. And with Neutrino absolutely whipping the ball up in the air, the ball hits the ground. 3-1 victory and 3-1 series game and points. And that is how that one ends, ladies and gentlemen. Yellow Jackets figure it out. And they win the series.
They did what they did very well in game 2, which is the back end of that game. They knew they were up. They knew they had it, so they played a very defensive style of Rocket League. They just backed off, let the Wizards bring them the ball over and over and over again, and the Wizards burned all the time out, and they could not find the pathway to victory. But Yellow Jackets looked phenomenal tonight. I had some doubts in terms of, I didn't really know what to expect from the Wizards team, coming to this. The Yellow Jackets, quote unquote, bottom of their division because of the scoreline as they hadn't played. This was huge for them, right? 8-4 now, tied, 4-way tie for first. Still this far into the season, 12 games into the season, we got a 4-way tie for first, ladies and gentlemen, of that division. But the Yellow Jackets came out, they looked strong. After game 1, they didn't let it get to them. They solidified their gameplay. They forced Vulcan to feel uncomfortable. You could tell he slowed down quite a bit throughout the series. And they played solid Rocket League. Now, QDC, it was an interesting game 2, and if you're the Wizards, it doesn't matter as much that you lost, but you still would have liked to take this one. Either way, guys, I have a little surprise for you guys tonight. They didn't give me a name, but I am going to see if we can get an interview from one of the players off the winning team tonight. That will be an interview with the Yellow Jackets player. Stick around. We'll be back in just a moment with that interview heading to the next desk. Welcome back, everybody, to the RLPC. My name is Dead Medic here with the very first player interview of the winning team. I do have Like a Boss with me off this Yellow Jackets roster. Congratulations, brother, on your win over these Wizards tonight. Big win for you guys. You needed it to stay tied for first in your division. What was your mental? How'd your thoughts? What were you thinking going into this one?
Thank you. Yeah, no, we just went in knowing we had to get a win. Our division's real tight, and just came out with a win. Happy about that.
Yeah, and obviously, you're playing the Wizards team, but they do bring in the sub in Vulcan. Now, he was a very good player. He was defining their team. How did you guys find ways to shut him down and to make him uncomfortable on a team that he doesn't play for?
I mean, you saw it game one. He was hitting double taps on us real easy. Just had to pressure him, not give him the ball, and obviously that resulted in wins. So.
Yeah, and you guys, you've been staying competitive all season long. Of course, again, you have a very difficult division, so that is impressive in itself because everybody, of course, has to play each other. But you're going to go into divisional matchups in the back end of this series, and those are going to be huge for you guys, right? Because you're going to have to do the head-to-heads for first and stuff. And sort of, what do you guys do to prepare? What do you guys, getting ready for? Are you having concerns about your division, or what do you guys think of the rest of your season going forward?
Concerns, not really. Just keep the comms rolling. We've been having subs. In and out, so getting the roster together, keeping it in sync has really been the main issue. As long as we got good chemistry, I believe we're making playoffs and doing good things.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I wish you guys luck. The sort of final question I do have for you here. I mean, we got a few more minutes, so we'll keep going, but that I sort of want to ask you is so you get into this game and you go down game one, right? It was a pretty dominant performance from the Wizards. They came out and we thought that there was a lot of support for the Wizards out there. It felt like maybe, oh, okay, this is going to be the Wizards that we get to see tonight. What did you guys do to bring it back after that game? Did you have like inter team comms, or what was you guys mental coming into game two? Because you guys definitely turned it around and looked better. What was the secret for you guys?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was definitely nerves. Obviously it was definitely shutting down Vulcan. That was the main game point to capitalize on, and it was really just get back in the flow of things and not think about them, just focus on our game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously, again, you guys came out, you did phenomenal, you figured it out. Now, going forward in the season, again, like I said, you got difficult matchups, but this was a huge one for you. Is there any matchup that you're like really hyped for that you think will be the hardest of your season going forward, remainder of the season? One that you're like, this is the one that's going to be our true test. Was tonight that matchup for you guys? What did you think of going into this one? Did you think we've got this one, or this is going to be one of our harder ones?
I mean, we definitely knew tonight was one of the harder ones. I was excited for it, especially being on stream. But any win we can take, I'm just here to win. Obviously, you saw me get that double demo. I'm just here to win. I got 66 points, I think, in one game. It's not the biggest deal. I'm here to win.
Yeah, that double demo was spicy. We were talking about it on the stream. You had some fans in chat that were talking about it. Like, you can't do that to them, but it was spicy indeed. And definitely, I think you helped beat their mental towards the end of it. But I'm going to let you go, brother. Congratulations again on the win. Before you hop out of here, anything you'd like to say to your fans or to indie players watching out there for you guys to hype your team up? Anything you got before I let you go here?
We're just going to go keep getting some W's.
All righty, brother. Well, congratulations again on the win, and thank you for coming through. Let's head back to the desk.